about when you have this desire or you want to pursue your bliss. Did you want to elaborate on that question that you had?
Or like the sort of sex kind of like, and what benefit is it? And is it that one? Or is it more like, is our purpose here all based on others and to do what's best for others? Or is there any part of this that is based on following your bliss? I personally feel like following your bliss helps others in that sense. I think it raises a vibration in that sense. Is that that question, Vanessa? You want to clarify? Yeah, I guess. Just, I would honestly really like to know what you have to say about orgasm and that kind of thing. Like, what benefit is it? Is there a benefit in it? Like, does it get you closer to? I feel like it's a meditative state in itself, and I haven't heard you answer anything on that. And if you don't mind, I would really like to hear your opinion on that.
Well, it may fall right into your other question about following your bliss. Huh?
Yes.
Maybe we'll do both of those together. I will answer that first question. You said, does everything have to be for the sake of lowering entropy and helping others? And the answer is only, yes, only if you are making a serious effort to grow up, to evolve the quality of your consciousness. If you're not ready yet to make a serious effort to grow up, there's no penalty for that other than kind of wasting your time. It's not an issue. You have plenty of time. And living dysfunctionally, struggling through life, feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied is kind of the downside of not growing up. So the downside stretches out longer. But no, you don't have to do anything other than be yourself. That is the key thing. You have to be you. You have to be authentic. Otherwise, you can't learn anything. You can't grow up. If you're pretending to be somebody else, there's no lesson in that for you. When you're yourself, now you have to deal with those consequences, and that's real. You can change. So the important thing is that if you don't feel like helping others or lowering your entropy, then you're not ready for that yet. Don't just keep on. Just keep on doing whatever you're doing, and let the consequences, eventually point you maybe in another direction. But you can't force yourself, because otherwise you're just acting. If you say, well, I think I should be kind and nice and sweet, but I really don't feel that way, but I can act that way. Well, that's not going to help you grow up any. It'll make everybody around you feel better because now you're a nice person, and not just, not a mean person. Not a not nice person. But other people will like it better, but it won't help you any. So always be authentic, just who you are, and then let the system work however it works. You get feedback, and if you're not nice, that feedback will start to hurt. And maybe you'll learn that lesson. But if you're not ready for that lesson, trying to do it when you're not ready isn't helpful. It'll just make it worse, you see. So always be yourself and always be authentic. All right, well, what about Tantra, sex, orgasm? A couple of things. Of course, I never give anybody advice because that's not my thing to do. I give people some understanding and let them come to their own conclusions. So I've got a few things. Vanessa sent me your questions ahead of time. So that was one that I actually wrote some stuff down so that I could remember all the various points that I wanted. I didn't write something down on all of them, but I did that one. The first thing I wrote down, and these are just things to keep in your mind, is that control taken too far is called obsession. Okay, a lot of Tantra is about control. Nothing wrong with control, but taken too far becomes obsession. Obsession is generally not good. Okay, one can harness sexuality in the service of spiritual growth, but then one can also harness juggling tennis balls or eating figs or mowing the grass or taking drugs in the service of spiritual growth. You can harness anything for spiritual growth, or you can harness anything. Let's put it in a more general way. One can harness almost anything by approach and by interpretation to serve both our evolution and our de-evolution. You can also harness sexuality, in a process of de-evolution, as well as one of evolution. In other words, one of not growing, of growing backwards as opposed to going forward. And the same with anything, you know. I mean, I had some silly things there, like mowing the grass, but you can go out and be a Zen grass mower. And while you've got that mower and are walking around, you know, I mean, you can be into a great altered state, you know, doing all sorts of things that may be just the thing you need. Or if you're into eating figs, you know, every time you eat a fig, you can say, here's a fig, and you can bless the fig, and you can, you know, thank, you know, the system for the fig that came to you, and, you know, on and on and on. You can turn anything into a thing that helps you grow up, you know, into a spiritual exercise. It's not the exercise itself that's really important. It's the attitude with which you approach it. And if you've done any Tantra, you know that that's what they talk about. It's not just the having sex that is key. It's the attitude with which you approach it. Right. And that's true of everything and anything. So yes, sex can be a process to spiritual development, and also can be a process to a lack of spiritual development. Depends on how you approach it. And it's true of anything else. You know, I know there are some cooks who, because they put so much love and energy and effort into the preparation of food, that becomes a meditation for them. And they gain spiritually just by cooking, you see. So that's one thing. Okay, so you can use all kinds of metaphors, figs or mowing grass or orgasm or anything else. And if you want to use those kind of metaphors or devices, some kinds of devices and things, or rituals, pick them wisely, because most have downsides, and the downsides are very, you know, particular to individuals. Mm-hmm. It's not that some particular practice will have a downside to everybody, but there'll be some people that it just won't work very well for them. It's not a good modality for them to grow with. You know, so like cooking just wouldn't do a whole lot for me. You know, I'd probably, I'd probably poison the people that I'm trying to cook for. So that's not the sort of thing that I would do. I don't have any skill there, so it wouldn't be that. You see, if you have skills and you have an inclination and you have a, you know, if sexuality is a major thing to you, then that is an avenue that might be a viable, you know, device or ritual or whatever you want to make it to grow spiritually, if you approach it with the right attitude.
Okay, like the right intent, like to
with
have
the right intent. Yes. Okay. If you approach that or anything else with an intention that is all ego, it's all about self, you're not going to learn anything spiritual about it.
Right.
It has to be approached from a position of caring, loving, and giving to other. You see, and that's the way it works in Tantra as well as mowing the grass or eating figs. You know, it has to be about other, not about yourself. If it's about yourself, it's about your ego and about your fear, and you're not going to grow up because of it. So that's the key thing. Okay, your sexuality is part of your humanity, okay, supported through evolution by the rule set. It's closely tied to your instincts. If your actions and attitudes get crosswise with your instincts, there is usually a penalty to pay. The penalty may be physical, psychological, and or spiritual. So when we talk about sexuality in particular, that's a little different than mowing the grass or, you know, cooking, because that is directly connected to instincts that you have.
Right.
Okay. And if you do things that are crosswise to those instincts, then eventually, like I say, there'll be a price to pay for that. We have these instincts because of the rule set. The rule set, you know, we evolved to be the way we are because that's the way the rules work. And we start acting ways that are counter to the rule set. Okay, then the body will often have a physical problem with that because the body's designed to follow this path, and you force it to follow some other path, you may start having physical difficulties, okay? Or emotional difficulties or something else, because the instincts aren't just all physical. The instincts are emotional and spiritual too. They're a very deep part of us. So keep those things in mind. Control taken too far is an obsession, and if you get crosswise with what seems instinctually right to you, you know, the way you're made, the way you're put together. If it seems like it's like what you're doing is in line with those instincts, then everything's fine. If it seems like they're really crosswise, you're forcing yourself to be or act in a way that just isn't natural to your instincts, eventually that will come back and bite you.
Okay.
So those are the things to be concerned about, because anything can be used for a spiritual tool, and anything can be used to de-evolve, you know, an anti-spiritual tool. It just has to do with what you do with it and how you do it and that attitude.
Right.
So
thank you.
that's what it is. So yeah, Tantra is a real thing. And yes, that does work. But mostly for some people, everybody isn't necessarily got the right mindset, attitude, whatever, to make that a spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not a thing. It's not like a cure-all that if everybody did it, you know, everybody would get spiritual. It's not like that. You have to have the right attitude to make that work. And if you do, you have to be careful you don't turn control into obsession, and you have to be careful that you don't get crosswise with your instincts,
Gotcha.
with your sexual instincts, because you as a female have a set of female instincts of how you feel, what you do sexually. And it's just instinctual. It's just the way you are. It's the core of you, because you're human, and that's the way the rule set worked out. And you can't try to go opposite to that for very long without a problem.
Right.